So, hello, welcome. I'm Helen with Authentic Discovery, and this week we are, so thank you for joining. And this week we are in conversation with Rachel. I'm hoping that my internet is good enough and lasts and works. So, Rachel, thank you so much for agreeing to come and talk to me. I'm really excited. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited. So I'm Rachel Lally. I am, I suppose, an artist of a multidisciplinary artist and drama facilitator.
Okay. Rachel, what inspires you?
Wow. Oh my gosh, like lots and lots of things. I suppose my first love is theatre. So anything connected to theatre, to the written word, performance, music. There's so many things. Like I've started writing recently, and it can just be a smell or something in nature, or a walk, or a feeling, or but I think part of that as well is being open to being receptive to those things as well.
Okay.
And being able to see the beauty and be inspired by those things too.
And are you writing poetry, short stories?
Yeah, so poetry, theatre, like I've been getting really into poetry recently. So I think I found writing very difficult for a long time, and I've just kind of, it's something I've always wanted to do more of, and I kind of made a conscious effort to practice it, I suppose, because it's something I think I've kind of shied away from a little bit. So in the last year, I made a really conscious effort to just to write, not necessarily to write anything for any reason, more for myself. And then gradually got brave and was able to share it and make some stuff with it. So yeah.
And what have you made recently with it?
Well, I actually had a poem published today in the pandemic, pandemic.ie. So that was just a piece I wrote about home, because we're all at home at the moment, and I just kind of sat down and was like, well, what do I think about home, and what have I heard about home, and all the things that people say, and the sayings that we have about being home, like a woman's place is in the home, and the man's house is his castle, and these kind of things that we're told that are kind of sitting there stewing in our brain, and they color our view of things sometimes. So yeah, it was kind of just playing around with those different phrases.
Cool. Do you have, can you tell me sort of a moment in your life that you will never forget?
There's been a few. Like there's so many things over the years that I've done that I never thought I would do, like modeling for a start. I never thought I would model. So like my first kind of photo shoot, or time being on a catwalk and stuff like that. Like I never thought I would, that was something other people did, and you had to be a certain kind of person to do those things. So to be like in that position, I was like, wow, this is incredible, being on stage, singing with a folk metal band in front of thousands of people in another country at massive festivals. They're all things I never, ever thought I would do. So there's so many moments that are wow, that I've been very lucky to have the opportunity to do those things.
What did you learn about yourself from that, from those kind of moments? Because they're all about performing, but from what I can gather. So
yeah, a lot of them are about performing. Yeah, I think just that you can put limitations on yourself, and not to kind of, maybe not to put those barriers there, and you never really know what you're capable of, or what you're capable of achieving. Do you know what I mean? So like, unless you go and do these things and say yes and push yourself and constantly go outside of your comfort zone, you don't really know the limits of what you can achieve.
So would I be right in thinking that that you very rarely say no to something that you may not, because is it Richard Branson says, if an opportunity presents itself, and you don't know how to do it, say yes and then learn.
And then figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very much that type of person. I would say the flip side of that is I'm really bad at saying no. So I tend to take on maybe too many things, or I say yes to things that maybe sometimes weren't maybe, I wouldn't say not worth my time, but things that I would kind of go, oh, like, okay, if I, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't do that again, or I've taken on way too much here and I'm completely stressed and I don't know how I'm going to do it all.
I'm just
eventually.
I've got a question. The question that just popped into my mind is, what's the biggest thing that you sort of said yes to that you're thinking, I really, is there something that you're like, I should never have said yes to that, and I would never say yes to that? Is there something along those lines? And what was it?
You learn all the time, like, from doing it. Like, I would certainly ask every time I learn a new question to ask about something going into it, so whereas like at the beginning, say, of acting or modeling, whatever, you're so excited about being asked to be involved in certain projects, you're saying yes, and you show up, and maybe it's not very well organized, or it takes like a really long, like there was a photo shoot I went to, for example, where I was really excited about it. I got there, it was really badly planned. I spent about 2 hours traveling to the shoot. Like, they did hair and makeup for so long, and I had said, like, I need to leave at this time to go and do another job. And I think, like, by the time the hair and makeup was finished being done, we actually got to take photos for about 10 minutes because it was just so badly. I was like, I've spent 5 hours to do 5 minutes of photographs. And, like,
wow.
Or like, maybe theatre projects where you kind of realize not everybody's on the same page, or you don't all want the same things out of the project. And so that, for me, is just, it's taught me to ask more questions and to clarify more things at the beginning, I think. And I don't think I'll ever know all of the questions that I should ask.
You learn new questions every time you do something.
But each time there are more, and I suppose that's experience, and that's like the knowledge that you gather through your life. Like in anything, I suppose, like the same goes for personal relationships with people, or other situations, in work or in your hobbies, or like in every aspect.
Yeah. Is there is there a theme that runs through your work that you do yourself, the theatre work, your writing, your music? Is there a theme that you've identified, or someone else can? I know a writer, and most of her books are and her plays and everything are all around family secrets, and that seems to be the theme that she returns to regularly. So do you have a theme? Is there a theme in your that you?
I don't think I do consciously have one. I'm sure if I were to sit down and objectively look at work that I've done, I could probably find something. But
okay. But no one's stopped and gone, are you aware that most of your work is along this line, whether it's family or home? Or... Sorry?
I think when you, if sorry, the connection just went there a little bit, but I think if you look objectively at any artist's work, you could sort of go, oh, I see that kind of thing coming up again and again, or that motif repeats. And part of that as an artist is that you maybe try something, or you explore something, and then you go, oh, there's more in that, and then you kind of delve into it a little bit more at a later time. But it can't, like, I don't consciously go, okay, I'm going to write about this and only this, or keep exploring.
No, I wasn't thinking that it would be a conscious thing. It probably starts off as an unconscious thing. And I suppose with one of the things that I'm sort of aware of is within the arts as well, is that you can tend to work on stuff that is unresolved in yourself. Now, whether you believe it's past life unresolved or whatever, but there's something that relates very much to you and to your being. And I just wondered if you had anyone highlighted, are you aware that your theme is this, or Are you aware that you I kind of go down that route quite a bit, or it kind of goes in that place, but there is always something more to learn about something. And I think that that's one of the things that the arts do. It gives you a fabulous opportunity to learn more about yourself as well, when you're working, because you have to pull out those parts of yourself to be able to do the role, and to kind of how to identify. I mean, what was it I heard today? It was only today. Apparently there was some interview out. Apparently Bachelor's Walk is making a occurrence. You know that the program about the three lads. Now I don't know who somebody was interviewing, but somebody was interviewing one of the actors in there, and they asked them, what would you like to be in? And they was like, oh, would you love to have been in Love, Hate? And they said, oh, I can't see you playing a baddie, which I thought was a really, like when I heard that, he's like, don't say that to an actor because they're acting.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I'm going to act. And I think John Hurt once said it as well, even though I've just said about pulling it out of yourself. I think John Hurt once turned around and said, it's acting, you were acting. And
yeah,
so, like, because you've got different types. Like, what sort of actor, because of the different types of actors that there are, do you have a method actor, or this, do you have would you say that you were a certain type of actor?
Definitely not. I've been very lucky in that I've had, I suppose my training over the years has been very varied. So I've had really the privilege, I suppose, that a lot of actors don't have, of exploring a lot of different styles, methods, approaches to acting. So I've done theatre of the oppressed, I've done playback theatre, I've done method acting, I've done Stanislavski, Chekhov technique, Suzuki, viewpoints, physical theatre. And I think it's like any trade, you have all these tools, and then whatever challenge you have, or whatever the thing is that you need to build or create, you pull the tools as needed.
Yeah.
And the more tools you have at your disposal, the better position you're in to create something.
Yes. Yeah. I totally get that. How, when you were, because you've been you've been a performer within an artist. I shouldn't just call you a performer, because you've been quite an artist for So what brought you into the arts?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It goes way back, and I think I'm an artistic person in that I'm terrible at stuff that is mathematical or to do with numbers. So it was always going to be something else for me. I was really shy as a child, chronically shy, barely spoke, hid behind my mother, was a really geeky little kid with a tall, gangly, red-headed kid with loads of freckles and massive glasses. And people said to my mother, you need to send her to drama classes. She needs some confidence. She needs to learn how to talk and use her voice. And so I think that's where it began. And I got really interested in this idea of the mask, or being able to present a version of myself. So, and now it's I've kind of done a 360 in terms of performing. And I think now I'm going back to the authentic, and what is the authenticity in the performance, in the words, what is the truth of what you're presenting. But in the beginning, it was definitely that idea of a character or a mask, or it not being me, that gave me the freedom to be confident, or speak my mind, or to present my ideas.
So has your art informed you? Have you found that you may have taken aspects of the different things, and I like that, I don't like that. Has it informed, has it informed you? I'm not even sure what I
It's
mean by that question. I know what
yeah, I think I do know what you mean. It's like, but I think it's very hard to separate the two because we all act every day. we are we are actors, you know. We act, we do things, we present a version of ourselves to people that, you know, often we're chameleons and we change and we present certain parts of ourselves or certain versions of ourselves depending on what groups we're in or what social circles or what we're hoping to gain from the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very hard to separate who you are as an artist or what art teaches you. Like it's all a process of living. And that's what I think why they say, you know, the best actors are the ones who have lived. You know, if you take someone straight out of school, it's like them compared to someone who's got a bit of life experience or you know, has loved and lost and made money and lost money and had some problems and overcome them. They're the better actors usually, because
Put
they
texture
have
they put texture into things because there's an experience there. Whereas
yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I love about who was it? I was music in all fairness. Who was it I was listening to the other day? And I think it was the Beatles song "She's Leaving Home." Do you know it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard an a cappella version of Paul singing that, and the emotion that he had was phenomenal. I'd never heard it quite like that. And I said, wow, for someone who at that time he hadn't had any children, he hadn't, you know, he had no experience of that situation. And it was just amazing, to be fair. It was quite, you know, because I think that's quite an emotional song. It's one of my faves. So on one hand, there are some individuals who they just have something, don't they? I suppose. And then there's those that I think Frank Sinatra, they says, you know, like he was technically a better singer when he was younger, but he was a better singer. You know, he was technically a good singer, like he was technically brilliant when he was young.
Yeah,
but when he got older, he was.
Great artists
Say again?
who aren't. But you can have great artists and you can have people who are technically incredible dancers who are technically amazing and like absolutely phenomenal to watch. But if there's no emotion there, if there's no connection with their audience, with the message they're trying to convey, then there's something a little bit lost there, or there's like an opportunity that can be lost.
Yeah. I suppose I'm aware of how I came and why I came into the arts. So that would have been to kind of work out my own insanity, for want of a better way of saying it. Has your relationship and your passion, because you know, all the time I've known you, you've been involved in it. Do you think it's helped you remain sane, for want of I'm not quite sure how to word that. Has it aided you in keeping a wholeness to you, do you think?
Yeah, it's a huge part of my identity, I think. Art is how I process a lot of things, like intellectually, politically, personally, emotionally. I find if I'm not creating, that's when I don't feel like I'm myself. That's when I will feel down. That's when I'm not feeling good. So if I ever find myself in a situation where I'm finding it kind of difficult to create or to work, and maybe that's why the kind of art that I do has been so diverse and has included so many different mediums, because I always have to find that way of channeling that energy. But yeah, I think it's absolutely, for me, it's fundamental to my existence. Like without it, I don't know how I would function, to be honest.
Yeah, I think one of my concerns is that it's undervalued for the the health benefits of it are undervalued within society as a whole, and a concern that I have at the moment with what's going on with people being denied access to. I mean, the internet is great. We can go to a multitude of museums around the world, and we can watch artists in their house, which is great. But that, and which we go into Boal and the Theatre of the Oppressed, that denial of actually being able to get out there, and also some of the censorship things that are going on, and the lack of voice of right now. I'm kind of like, we need, the arts aren't being allowed to be accessed, and if anything, right now people need to be out. Although I would imagine that when this ends, we are going to see some phenomenal arts that are coming, that are going to come out.
I think we'll see it even, like, I think we'll see it even before it ends. My thinking in this whole scenario, of course, the arts is so underfunded, under-resourced, massively underappreciated in our country, which in Ireland, like, accounts for a huge amount of our revenue comes from the arts and tourism, and people coming to Ireland to see our traditional dancing, our traditional art, our traditional music, and storytelling, and all of the things that. And sometimes when things are so fundamental and are so necessary and essential, that is when we take it the most for granted.
Yeah.
So it's like oxygen, air. It's everywhere. It's you can't imagine a day without music, without art, without graphics, without textiles, without design, without any of that. Because it's like beyond imagination to have all of those things gone. So it gets taken for granted.
Yeah.
And artists like me will want to make and create. And we will see things, I think, before this lockdown ends.
Wow.
That we can't even imagine now. But even on our street outside, there are people decorating their windows in a way that they are trying to communicate with people that are walking by. We have people doing stuff online, writing over Google Docs. We have people, like, I'm making a video at the moment where I've for my poem, so I've asked people to make a video at home and send it to me, and I'm going to compile them all together in a video. That is amazing, and people have sent me just the most incredible stuff. And I can see like what's in their house, and like some people are painting, and some people are dancing, and some people are doing a movement piece, or like putting on makeup, and like all of these are little pieces of art that we do every day. And there's going to be so much that comes out of it. Like, if anyone can survive in this crisis, we are the creatives. We are the ones who think outside the box, and we will have answers before anyone else does. That's my thinking.
I may agree with you there.
I'm very confident about that. You know, I'm in no, like, I'm not in no two minds about it. Like, something is going to come before we're in a theatre, before we're in a cinema.
Yeah, we need some creative solutions as well to what is going on.
And we are the creatives, so we will find them. If they are there to be found, we will find them.
So what have you got, any projects or anything? So what has this situation, it's altered what everybody had planned to do. Have your plans altered much, or what have you, and what are you planning for, say, the next 3 to 6 months? I know you've just spoken about that one project.
Yeah, so the video is the next thing. Like, I don't know. I suppose it's hard to plan. I think for the first couple of weeks, it was very difficult to plan, because everyone was kind of like, oh, how long is this going to last? Where it's like this for 2 weeks, and then another 2. Like, I think I've accepted now this is going to go on for a very, very long time. And I think just in the last couple of days, I've made that shift from, like, I'm in kind of panic mode and survival mode, and like just trying to adapt and survive, to to the current situation. And then now I'm in a much better position to be able to go, okay, what do I really want to do in this time? I want to write. I want to find a way of creating art that is not reliant on people being physically present in the space together. And there are lots of possibilities there, and there are lots of ways of creating art that way. And so it's an interesting time to play with that, you know, and what the limits of it are, and what the restrictions of it are. What can it do? How far can we go? And what is not able to be done without that touch, without that physical presence. There's so much we can do. Like, I've studied film as well. There's so much that we can do with cameras, with videos, with editing, with you know, with technology, with sound, with live projections and calls and streaming, but it will never be the same. But we shouldn't be chasing that. We can't have that at the moment. We have to accept that and look for what we can do, because it's very tempting to just consider all of the negatives and what we can't have. I think, as well, as a theatre practitioner, I just have to let some of that go and say, I can't, like, that is not the way it is at the moment. What else can I do? And look for the possibilities in that.
Cool. I look forward to seeing what comes.
What it's going to end up as. But yeah, I think that's the only way you can think of it, you know.
As you were talking, I was thinking I need to learn some of those film skills and editing and things like that, because I'm not there yet at all. So, but hopefully that's something that will come in the future that I'll figure all.
Yeah, it's a good time to learn all these things. You know?
I have taken on some learning. I'm doing some chakra dancing and some EFT stuff at the moment. So I'm trying to get something going on in here. See what's going on in here.
Okay.
And yeah, writing as well. I am writing, although I'm not writing. I'm not going to say I'm not writing creatively, because I've written stories and things, but little blogs here and there, and sort of, you know. So, but yeah, there are things to be done.
I think that's fine. I think when I started writing, I didn't necessarily start writing to create anything. I just said, I'm just going to write. But when I did that, something else evolved from it. So, I mean, I think it's fine to start where you're at.
Just on just because this is something that I've recently started doing. I've dipped in and out of this. Have you ever done the artist way? Have you done? Do you do morning pages?
No, I had a glance at, you know, I flicked through it, but I've never sort of practiced it. I've never committed to the morning journaling, or, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I do a lot of these things anyway. In a way, maybe not as regimental or as disciplined, perhaps, as I would recommend. I don't think that kind of discipline is sustainable over a long period of time anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're, because I've been to like drama training, and I've been in training, like I have sort of certain approaches or things that I do, or that I know that work, or that I go back to every now and again. But I think, like, and it's always good to have new, like I said, the new tools, the new resources, something new to try, a new approach, a new way of looking at something, a new method, whatever it is that kind of sparks joy or imagination or creativity. I think it's worth, if it works, then go for it.
Cool. My final question. What
that went so quickly.
To be fair, I don't have any. I have a kind of structure, but it's very loose, as yours. You know, it's a bit loose. But what truth would you like to share?
Ooh. That's a really good question. I think we have a lot more conversations now about mental health, about we've lived so long in a society, and particularly in Ireland, where we don't talk about people's bad times, about their traumas, about their griefs, about their sadness. These kind of negative emotions have been brushed over, they've been pushed down, they've been hidden. And particularly as women, you know, you've been taught to put on a brave face. We have expressions like you're feeling blue, or she suffers with her nerves. Things that gloss over really serious issues that I'm really glad are beginning to come to light, and we're beginning to explore them and talk about them, particularly when it comes to men. But also I think we sometimes take for granted, or we are fed this narrative that women are better talkers and they talk to each other and they share their feelings. And sometimes that is true, but it's not always easy, and it's not always the case, and we can always get better at it. So I think my truth is that I definitely experience all of those things, and so does everybody else. And let's continue that I experience all of those things, all of those negative emotions, and that we all do. And that we should continue the conversation about them and continue to explore and to share them and to present them, and whether that be through art or conversation or in society in general. I think that's an important thing to do.
I just want to say thank you for actually sharing that you experience those things as well, because within mental health, it can, when you're in one of those places, it is so isolating. And we do have, it's not just Ireland, I think it's in general, sometimes there's almost a sense of shame that you're not, that you're not how you should be. Sorry?
Yeah, that you don't have it together enough to present a face, or to show up anyway, or to power on through.
And it's almost used like a bit of a shackle, and an enslavement, that so you don't admit that you're not, and either you're not admitting what's actually happening for you, or you don't feel that you can do something, because how can I do that if I'm feeling like this, or how can I say that if that's what's going on for me? And I think all of those myths need to be busted, and that when we come out ourselves, and to all intents and purposes, and no, not to all, you are an accomplished, beautiful woman. So people are like, oh, she'd never have anything, that she never, people project that some of us never have these things going on.
Standards that are there for people, and one thing I've learned as a model is, no matter how thin or beautiful or there's always going to be something. I've seen the most beautiful women in Ireland in a room going, oh, I hate this bit here, and I got this hair, and my eyebrows are awful, and these are people getting paid just to look because they look nice. And I'm standing in a room going, this is insane. The standards that we hold ourselves to across the board are absolutely manic. I was at a performance. And I was with a friend of mine, and she started crying because she was really touched by the performance, and she's going, oh, I'm so embarrassed because I'm crying. And I was like, well, why would you be embarrassed? You don't get embarrassed when you laugh. It's an involuntary emotional reaction to something. Cry, it's fine, it's okay. And then
the artist,
it will be okay.
The artist would be delighted to know that they had elicited an emotion, a genuine emotion from someone, because I think that's one of the things that art does. And I think it's not the sole purpose, but I think it's a huge purpose of art in all its forms, to connect with, and so that people can identify and see themselves within it. Man's used the arts forever to try and externalize what's going on inside. So when one artist, when an artist is able to reach out to somebody and to and to have a reaction to their art, I think that's the definition of success within your art form, that you have you've created that response in someone. I've recently wrote twice actually about the benefits of crying as well. And especially within, like, we're all in our homes at the moment, and the physical action of when you do that, not so much the snotty cry, the ugly snotty blurry cry, when your body's retching, and the physical action of crying is such a gift that is underestimated and undervalued, to allow your body to release. So, and I think that's one of the reasons I just love the arts in general, is that they can do that. They reach out and they grab you by the balls, and they can make you angry, they can make you sad, they can make you cry, they can make you laugh, they can make you feel horny, they can make you feel lonely, they can make you feel everything. And that is the joy and the wonder of them. And like they are, when you were talking earlier, they're part of the very fabric of human existence. And that's probably why, they are sort of just taken for granted and not valued enough in terms of what they do for us. And I'm not knocking some of the stuff that's coming out. Well, maybe I am. Some of the reality stuff, and like I see my own daughter, so I see what some people are watching, and I'm like, the reality, to me, I'm not saying all reality TV, but I just think it's such cheap television, and it's so, I don't get it. I suppose it's because I don't get it. It doesn't resonate with me at all, and I'm just like,
I think it's psychologically fascinating, like that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, I love watching first dates, because I love just watching the body language and the awkwardness and the personalities, and I'm fascinated with, like, I'm a people watcher. I could absolutely sit in a cafe and watch people for ages, and walk, or
it is a wonderful opportunity to do that.
Like, oh, she knows something we don't know. Like, there's what people are feeling and what they're experiencing is sometimes like just written all over them. It's just, they're telling you the story.
I used to love watching, sitting people watching, and then just deciding that, just creating the conversations. I had no idea what they were actually, but from their body language and from the way that they're interacting with each other, sitting there and going, oh yeah, this is the conversation that they're having now. I used to love doing that. I haven't done that for quite some time, but yeah, actually it might be.
You won't be doing it anytime soon.
I was wondering what people are missing the most, and now I've just said it, I was thinking, yeah, when I go out, actually 9 times out of 10 there will be an element of, oh, that's going on there, and like just projecting my own stuff onto it and creating from their body language. I love watching couples. I can't say I don't. I do, especially when they're having a go, because the body language, and when they're trying to not burst in public, is just it's not. It shouldn't be for my entertainment, but I do find it entertaining. There's not a lot I can go with that. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me in conversation. That is just lovely. I really enjoyed it. So, if you just hold on one moment. So, yes, thank you again, but thank you. I really do appreciate it. So, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, listening to the lovely Rachel as much as I have. Subscribe. Like, I know I'm supposed to do all of these things, like, subscribe. You can find information about me. Oh, Rachel, sorry, where can people find you?
I don't really have a website or
Instagram, social media.
My Instagram is just Rachel Lally Forks, and you can follow me there if you're interested in seeing pictures of stuff that I see.
Okay. So yeah, so I will put a link to where you can connect with Rachel should you want to connect with her either for artistic work, well, whatever. And you can find information about me, and I will put it all in the description. And yes, thank you for watching, and I look forward to next time. So now it is for me to end the recording.